Город Изюм Харьковской области.
The city of Izium, Kharkiv region, is literally littered with the destroyed Russian equipment, or rather, what is left of it. For example, the remains of the TOS-1A, Sansepek, scorching sunlight, Russian heavy flamethrower system, which is one of the most brutal weapons in the world.
This TOS-1A Sansepek, scorching sunlight system, has been standing here for 4 days. They'd left it here full, with shells loaded. The bullets were here, we know that for sure. There were people from the Krasnoyarsk territory, we've met them, found their documents. And there were also mercenaries from different countries. They had chevrons. This is the latest model of tanks, T-80 main battle tank, MBT, which is one of their best. The Russian occupiers were running away from us. We were advancing, so they were just abandoning their equipment, bulletproof vests, weapons and entire ammunition depots.
How many personnel can be provided with this equipment?
Well, I think that 2 tank companies can be, or a battalion, which is more likely. 16 armored personnel carriers have just left from that site. 8 tanks have been brought in. Well, there's a lot of abandoned equipment. A lot.
Mykola, with the call sign Tyson, has been fighting since the beginning of the Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The serviceman is 31 years old, and he is one of the liberators of Izium from the Russian invaders.
We hadn't slept for almost 10 days, preparing for the assault. Then we were going step by step, village after village. People from the liberated territories have met us with flowers. It was very nice of them. People had been actually waiting for us. We were coming into almost 2 villages per day.
Did you liberate 2 villages a day?
Yes, we were sweeping and moving on. Then we were having rest for a day and going further again. We'd hardly slept for 10 days then. We had only 1 night of sleeping under a tree during the rain. And that was it. We liberated more than 50 kilometers during the first day. The Russian occupiers wanted to fight back 2 villages from here. But all of them ran away, and we just went further.
According to the Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Hanna Maler, the armed forces of Ukraine have liberated 388 settlements in the Kharkiv region since September the 6th so far. This is about 8.5 thousand kilometers when more than 150,000 people live. The Ukrainian servicemen did not expect such great results from themselves.
We'd expected that it would be longer, but thanks to God everything went well and with minimal losses. But it was worth it. People had been waiting for us, really. I don't know, this is precious. The whole Ukraine was waiting for us.
Here is our dishes, there is firewood, we carry it by ourselves. Here is the first carrier, we call it Mikhailivna, it is quite old but carries the firewood.
This is how the majority of the houses of Izium look like now. Broken windows and doors, food is cooked on a fire by locals. Zinaida is a resident of Izium. She'd been here for all 6 months under the Russian occupation, taking care of her paralyzed husband.
Everything is damaged here, everything is broken there. Behind these doors, that bedroom is also destroyed. Look here, here everything fell out of their places in my room. The radiator is also broken. This window was fixed with planks and spray foam by my son-in-law. God only knows how I will survive this winter. My husband is paralyzed, and all this time had been like that. Can you imagine how it is? You can't even imagine that, right?
The Russian occupiers had their own rules in Izium: a curfew, document checks, undressing people right on the street. The Russians had been looking for tattoos with Ukrainian symbols. They broke into the apartments of local residents.
Look, these are the doors of one flat and these are of the other one. Here where the doors are lying, everything is broken. How will people come back to their flats? How are we going to live? What do we do?
Did you say that the Russian invaders were entering your flat, handing a sledgehammer and assault rifles?
Yes, there were 3 or 4 of them. There was a sweep. Some were not at home then. The sledgehammer was made of metal, and they were smashing in full force. They were coming in with an assault rifles on their shoulders. so no one would make any movements.
Izium is destroyed by 80%. Not a single building has survived. People have been living without mobile communications, gas and electricity for more than 6 months already. When it was cold, local residents were forced to warm themselves near the fire camps, while the Russian invaders were taking away houses from the residents and settling their personnel there.
The Russian occupiers lived in the house, and the dugouts had been built in case of bombing or artillery shelling. People who used to live here say that the Russian cars were fully loaded with household appliances and furniture. They took it to their homes in Russia. I'm sure they have a shortage of that. The Russian military have destroyed half of the house. They've knocked out the wall in order to quickly run out of the house in case of artillery shelling. They've also built a dugout here to hide in.
Where did they come from?
From different regions. We took a passport of one of them, and there was written that the guy was 21 years old and from the Krasnodar territory.
Anatoly is 29 years old and he has been serving in the armed forces of Ukraine for 4 years now. His family does not know yet where he is now.
Well, they don't know. Let's start with the fact that here are real problems with the mobile communications, and my relatives don't know how to use smartphones, but only ordinary push-button phones. I can't even call them. So far, I've written to my brother that I'm fine and I'm safe and sound.
The Ukrainian military is not going to stop their counteroffensive in the Kharkiv region.
We will go further to the border. Our next point is Donbas.
Do you still have the energy?
We will have it.
The Ukrainian defenders continue to liberate the Ukrainian land from the Russian occupiers, and the Russian equipment that the occupiers have left when they were fleeing will help our soldiers to do so. The equipment will be repaired and put back into the operation. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Anastasia Zhuk, UATV News.